Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence reign back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this message is about the latest teacher that is a pedophile. I told you, I told you guys, and just for people that might just be tuning in, I really am not the personality to judge somebody. I really am not. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to clean things up. It's a difference between cleaning things up, being a boss cleans things up. A boss don't only collect checks. A boss also clean things up. That's a seven. Al. So I gotta clean things up, man. And it's all these pedophiles that are in leadership in your country, whether they be teachers, politicians, you know, famous individuals. It's everywhere, and it's just and who gets like targeted for this actual this crime is the citizens, not the authorities. The authorities are the ones that's most responsible for pedophilia right now in 2022 in October. That's a seven. Um, the authorities are most responsible. Okay, a teacher is a type of authority. You should be able to trust a teacher with your children. But you can't. I mean, how many cases is it going to take? And and the woman is down in Tampa, Florida. My son is in Tampa, Florida. My son could have been in her classroom. Therefore, my son that I brought into this world could have been a victim of this same woman. She's in the same county as my son. She's in Tampa, Hillsborough County. And she messed around one of the children there in Tampa, you know, and I'm gonna see if you guys protest. I'm gonna see if you guys let your voice be heard. This is the way my voice is being heard concerning these things. This is how I choose to go about it. This is my position. But you guys gotta start whistleblowing about it, because we sit back and we badger the citizens about being pedophiles, but we do not badger the government, the power that be, the authorities, the police. They're guilty too. I've showed you videos about police being just as guilty for pedophilia as the citizens. The teachers are just as guilty and they have charge over your children. They're just as guilty as the citizens of your country. So I mean, what else real evidence is it going to take? Because see, I think that you think I'm a conspiracy theorist. Have I ever really gave you any conspiracies? Go through my 606 videos. I have 606 videos. This will be the 607th video. That's a seven. um, go through my videos. You know, and you will see that I am not no conspiracy theorist. I am not here sharing my opinions and what I feel as a compass to uh, make my videos. I come and give you facts. I give you articles. It's real time stuff that I'm talking about. 44 states married children. That's real time stuff. That's real time laws. That's real time activity and vibration. Because I need to make a video because about this, about uh, laws have vibrations. Laws have vibrations because they're connected to the community, and it has an activity that the community does. That's a seven. Therefore, it's a vibration. It's a huge vibration, kind of like a centipede. That's how I see it. Laws are like centipede vibrations that go through your community. And you got 44, you got a 44 states child marriage centipede all over the country, wiggling all over the country. This is a vibration because people are connected to it. It is documented. It is a document. It is documents in the White House. 44 states with child marriage is somewhere in the White House. You can go find that document, that part. And the people that are silently doing nothing and know of this are connected to the vibration of this. That's a 7. So it's a pretty deep thing that I want to get into about laws being vibrations, being that they are connected to human beings. I think that's safe to say, right? Because humans have vibrations. If the laws influence their vibration through their activity, then it's safe to say that laws are a type of vibration. It's like plugging it into, it's like the humans connect to this vibration and boom, now you're doing what that vibration is defined as. That's a 7. So I got to get into that. But right now, I want to get into this woman down in Tampa, this teacher that had messed with the child, man. Like I said, down in my son's hometown. And that could have been my son in her classroom. That's the spooky part. This is where it really hits home for me. My son is in Tampa, Florida. This woman, this teacher, the school teacher, is in Tampa, Florida. Okay? My son is 15. He could have easily been in one of her classes. And she could have, we don't know what could happen. My son could have been that victim. So this one really is a wake-up call. I used to live in Tampa, off and on. I've been living there off and on since 2003. So what's that, 19 years? Yeah. Okay, so, I know about Tampa. Okay. So I'm going to read the article that was produced about this. It's the real article on the situation of this woman down in Tampa, Florida, the school teacher that was arrested for sexual activity with a child. Now, see, for most of us, let me say this before I go any further. For most of us adults, we would rather die than have sex with a child. That would be the end. I don't understand how they can want to live. How could they go on about their life? I mean, something is seriously wrong there. That's a shell of a human being. That's a 7. Because most of us will want to die before that would happen. So this article is what I'm about to read and tell you. So you can see the details on this woman. Deputies have arrested a Tampa teacher who is accused of sexually battering a student, according to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Jamie Melton, that's this woman's name, this teacher's name, that's over your children out there in Tampa, Florida. Jamie Melton, 42, an English teacher at Carrollwood Day School, has been suspended as a result of the arrest, The school said in a letter sent to parents, faculty, and staff Monday afternoon. Melton engaged in sexual relations with a student earlier this month, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. On September 10th, deputies obtained a warrant for Melton and she was arrested Sunday and on sexual battery charge. On a sexual battery charge. So she got a sexual battery charge. They said she was sexually battering a student. They say she was engaged in sexual relations with a student. So see, and this happened in the last month, guys. Now, am I being a bigot by pointing this out? That's ridiculous. What you want me to do? Sit back and say nothing? No pun intended, but I don't get off on this. I really don't get off on this. But this is real, and this is what I'm talking about. This is an English teacher. This woman was supposed to be teaching children how. Let's get to the facts of this. She was supposed to be teaching children how to pronounce words, nouns, everything like that. You know, I don't know what grade it was. It doesn't say what grade it was. I could have checked, but she's supposed to be, you know, at minimum teaching children nouns, adjectives, you know, all that type of thing. Action nouns, you know all the stuff. But and English is very important. This is a very important class this woman held. And I'm not downgrading anything else. But before, you know, English is very important. I mean, if you don't walk away with nothing else from school, grade schools, you got to have English. You know, you need to have that. Other things, but English is very important. And it's very important also for, Hispanics and Latinos. It's very important for their children to have English classes. So therefore, it's more important. English is more important. English class is more important than ever before. Now that we have a great Hispanic and Latino community here in America, it's more important. And I'm sure she knows this. And yet, through the importance of her position, this woman wants to badger, how they put it, battering, I'm sorry, sexually battering a student. Just sexually battering a student. And so this charge was sexual battery. So I'm guessing she was fondling the child. That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing she was probably giving the child a hand job through their pants, things like that. Like, we got to talk about what happens. She might have had her hands in the child's pants, And see, here's the thing, though. See, the part that you don't really point out or think about is that the child did not go to the police. The child did not go straight away to the parents, because these days, the children, man, from the time they're almost born, they're already getting sexual images and sexual media, if you will. The child was with it. The child, when she probably seen something. See, a predator can see the weakness and see which child is even attracted to her. We got to be human here. We as kids we had crushes on on a lot of us had crushes on the teachers, but when you're an adult, what I've learned is you handle a crush in a noble, pure way, 100%. You know what you do with a crush that a child may have on you that you can do nothing about. You get, and the teacher should think about this. You influence them to do good and be good. You don't use it for nothing else. If you capture their attention and they find you to be pretty, you use that to make them a good person. You say good things. No pun intended. Stay in school. Pursue your dreams, and you sidestep the crush part. See, what I think is what these teacher predators do is they see the child is attracted to them, and they're in awe of it, and they're surprised by it, and they're curious and aroused by it. Think about it. This is what happens. They're like, oh my God, that child is attracted to me. And instead of using it to make that child better, which she could have probably did, she could have probably made that child an awesome student, and sidestep those feelings, the crush the child may have for her. She could have sidestepped that and made and influenced the child to be good and better, and the child mind would have clicked that this human being, this teacher, is here to make me do better, not for sex, this is not someone. Even a child could think about it. This teacher is about business. This teacher is about me becoming better. This teacher wants me to do good in school. Boom, that's the foundation. So now because teachers can see, I'm sure they can see what kids like them and don't like them. Even just in general, besides attraction, they can see what children like them and don't like them, right? So obviously the teacher had to see at some point that the child liked her. Well, she probably didn't prey on a child that hated her or didn't like her. So she probably seen something in the eyes of the child and that liked her, and she preyed on that. She was aroused by it. She was, you know, infatuated with it. Thanks to that degree. But the bottom line is, this woman has done things that you and me would die before we do. That's what you need to look at. And I've been trying to tell you this. That's why the times are leading up to what I'm telling you. The times are now moving in to full bloom everything I've been telling you. That's why you know I'm a prophet, because I've been telling you this. That's a 7. I've been telling you all about all of this stuff going on with the teachers, everything. And it's now, it's not letting up. It's becoming more of a culture. It's becoming more and more of a problem. While you may think the country is sophisticating and it's ridiculous to think that people are messing with children. How's it ridiculous when a teacher just got caught less than a month ago? This is less than a month ago, which means this is less than 5 weeks ago. And see, here's the thing. You'll look at a guy like me, drive by your car, look down on me, right? And then you will go to a school, a PTA meeting, and you will praise and salute Miss Jamie Melton, the teacher. You'll even say, that's my hero. You'll call the teacher your hero, thinking she's so noble, she's over the children and pure. Well, she wasn't pure. I'm pretty sure, and you know, we're all adults here. My videos are for adults. She probably got wet looking at the children. Well, if she had an act with the children, with one of the children, it's not far fetched to think that these predators are getting hard-ons and getting wet. Disgusting but true. Oh, okay. So all of these teachers that do these things, you don't think there's teachers that get wet? I know you don't want to hear it like that, do you? Well, they're getting caught doing worse things. Pretty sure some of them are getting wet. And hard-ons for the men. Okay, they're getting caught doing things. So before that is arousal, right? Probably getting wet and probably getting hard. Okay? This is what you need to know. Because, see, here's the thing about most adults in America. We have a culture where we talk about sex, but we don't talk about the details, especially when it comes to kids. And this is what keeps us less serious about the issues. This is what keeps us passive and docile about the issues because you don't talk about the details enough to arouse your anger. Right? You need to know that the teacher's getting up there getting wet. You need to know they up there getting hard-ons looking at your little daughter. You need to know this. Because if you sit back and think, oh, it's happening, but you got like a cartoon version of it where the teacher is standing there. Most of us think about the teacher standing there, the students. You don't think about nothing else. You don't think about nothing else. That's all you think about is the teacher, the students. You don't go through the details. This teacher, Jamie Melton, she probably was getting wet looking at the guys, looking at the boys. Nipples probably getting hard, all of that. Might have been masturbating on the lunch break. Who knows? But if you don't think about this, then you're going to just act like this is not a problem. Now, can you stand up there and can you stand back and let a teacher, a fully grown woman, she's 42 years old, just a year older than me. She's getting wet. Would you have a problem with her getting wet up there in front of your students, in front of your children? You would lose your mind. If you knew for a fact a teacher was getting wet, aroused, you would hit the roof. You would want to punch this woman sitting up getting wet. I got to paint. You know, it's a dirty job, but I got to do it. I have to do this. I have to do this because nobody else is going to show you the details, and therefore you're not going to have a real reality. And therefore, if you don't have a real reality of what these pedophiles are doing with your children, you're not going to be moved to action. And because our American community does not talk about the details, we don't talk about the wiring, we're not as mature on these subjects as we think we are. You're only mature when you can talk about the details. That's a 7. The police have to talk about the details, you know. They have to talk about actually what took place. I give them that. They have to deal with details that you would screech at, that you would not be able to have a stomach for. All the details. And until you get the details, you're not going to be angry. Well, if you don't know the details, how can you really be angry? That's a 7. How can you be angry about what happens to these children or what could possibly happen to your children? How can you be angry if you don't know what details are? in the situation or could happen. You have to know details. And I'm not getting turned on by the details. I'm not getting off on telling you the details until I paint the real reality to you of what the details are. You're going to sit there and think in a cartoonish manner, like a funny paper. Okay, child went in front of teacher, she gets arrested, and that's all you think about. This is all you think about. But the details are, okay, she, or say sexually battering. I think they were doing a lot of foreplay. That's what I think. But yeah, I think they were doing a lot of foreplay. Yeah, that kind of thing. She probably was getting them off in her pants, and he was getting her off too. Now, see, the kid. This is what I'm saying. You have to tell your kids this. Okay, if you're involved with an adult and you don't tell me, you don't tell your mom, you don't tell your mama, you don't tell me, and you don't tell your mama. We can't do nothing. How can it's a harder case to prove that you're innocent and you're a victim when you're engaged. Now, this kid, it says Melton engaged in sexual relations with a student earlier this month. So it was earlier in the month, which means to me, how I take it is that the child didn't come forward instantly when it happened. Because it's a switch in the culture. The children are probably thinking all kind of stuff too. I gotta show you the details. You know how kids are these days. They probably thinking any and everything. They want to do anal with the teachers. They want to eat the teachers out. They want to get a teacher's head. All kind of stuff. They're just as crude, and you have to accept it. That think about a school full of, think about a classrooms full of, I would even say starting at middle school. That's probably when that would start, where kids are just making the teacher a sex object behind her back or his back. That's what, come on now. They making the teacher a sex object behind her back or his back. If they're attractive, very attractive teachers, there are some very extremely attractive teachers out there. And if they're in middle school or high school especially, they can become a sex object behind their back, behind the teacher's back. The teacher can become a sex object. And the kids are making her a sex object or him a sex object behind their backs. That being said, you have to make your child responsible to not engage in making teachers sex objects. Okay? You tell your child, hey, now you get caught up with your teachers or something, and you are already engaging in making this teacher a sex object, this ongoing subculture in your classroom of making this teacher a sex object. How can we help? How can we prove to these courts that you are a victim? Now that you want to be done with it, now that it got out of control, maybe she became obsessed, or maybe and you ratted her out, but you didn't say nothing initially. See, we got to get on the kids too. If you sit up here and act like these kids are angels, earth angel, you act like these kids are earth angels, you dreaming, you deceiving yourself. Just look at the stuff that they engage in. Look at the stuff. I'm not demonizing the kids. I'm telling you the reality. Think about how you were. Think about how your classrooms was when you was a kid. Think about it. And that's how long ago? So just imagine now. Because we got to look at both sides. We can't just look at the adults. We got to look at the culture of the children too. And I got to get into that too. Because, it works both ways. Some of these kids don't come, it takes two. When no one is saying anything and the kids are not coming forward, they enjoyed it. And you have to admit that. that children's sexual sensories, if you will, is going off earlier, and they're enjoying engaging with adults. That's a 7. I know you don't want to admit that part. I know you don't. I know you don't want to admit it. Okay. So, like now, and I want to see how many people protest about this. I mean, is it okay or not? Because I'm trying to understand. Because I look at your culture, and I see people going around acting crazy. They acting crazy about children, ready to kill people for children. Right? I've heard people say this out their own mouths. Out their own mouths. Yeah. And so why ain't people going crazy about these teachers? Why people ain't going crazy about 44 states marrying children? That's what I'm saying to you. See, it's a double standard. It's not what you do, it's who you are. Now let a homeless man do the same thing this woman did. She was a white woman. She was a woman. And I'm gonna note this. Women get a better break. They get a better break, and to me, a slap on the wrist for being a pedophile. A man gets a harder road for being a pedophile. That's a 7. Look at all these women pedophiles. Y'all ain't even saying nothing. And you know what? Half of the I'm gonna tell you how I know. Excuse me. Look at how. Look at how. Some of these guys talk about these teachers getting caught up. These women teachers getting caught up. Some of them